from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
Coming up on Ag Day, cottonseed prices are down and the industry is looking to Congress for help. In agribusiness, finding profits in a glut of grain.
Prices are going to be under pressure, and their only one alternative is they're going to have to walk that grain off the farm, which will add to tonnage.
We're checking on chains on Farm Journal College TV, and protein powder is helping this Wisconsin mom keep her kids healthy.
Ag Day, presented by the Chevy Silverado. High-strength steel for high-strength dependability.
Good morning, I'm Clem Griffiths. The cotton industry is watching budget negotiators in Congress closely. They hope some cotton-friendly policies get included in the next budget plan. And the December 22nd deadline is quickly approaching. Programs like those dealing with cottonseed didn't make the cut the last time. Betsy Gibbon reports on why the industry hopes this time is different.
Trucks are on the move to and from Hoke Robinson Gin in Red Springs, North Carolina. Impressive yields are good for business.
So we really don't have anything to complain about except the price.
Even though cotton traded higher on Thursday, it has not been that way majority of the year.
Cotton prices for most of the year have traded between, on the futures markets, front month contract wise, between about 67 cents and 75 cents.
Payne says exports cooled towards the end of the year just before the new crop came in. However, he says cotton exports are strong.
We're not exactly sure what the crop looks like overseas. Some are speculating that the Indian crop is much worse than we're letting on. And if that is the case, you should see exports continue.
Despite demand, that price is still weighing on producers this year. A glut of cottonseed may be to blame. USDA says roughly 1.4 million more tons of cottonseed was produced in 2017 compared to last year. And lower cottonseed prices are hitting gins hard.
Pardon my French, but we got caught with our britches down.
Eden says the gin stored $1 million worth of cottonseed last year. The oil mill nearby closed. They had a glut of cottonseed that did not get completely sold until the facility started up the gin this year.
I am just now paying that $1 million loan off from last year's seed, and I couldn't stand another year of that.
Farmers are feeling the impact too.
The low seed price is not paying for the ginning.
This is the second year farmers at Hoke Robinson Gin will feel a ginning charge, which will be deducted from their crop, and they're not alone.
I've actually heard people ginning for even money, so the cottonseed is covering all of the costs in Texas and Georgia. I've heard 1 cent, 2 cent in Georgia and Alabama, so it's been varied, but 5 cent is definitely at the top end of that range.
The Senate Ag Appropriations Bill contained provisions which would have made cottonseed eligible for ARC and PLC safety nets, along with a policy fix and additional funding for dairy. The House version only contained report language which urged USDA to take action to help cotton in the interim.
Having cottonseed covered under the same programs that are afforded to the other commodities, ARC and PLC, would be a long-term fix.
Business will go on as trucks keep moving at the Hoke Robinson Gin, as growers hope Congress hears their plea. I'm Betsy Gibbon.
All right, thanks, Betsy. Eden says he's shipping more cottonseed out to dairies in the Midwest this year, but those producers are in a squeeze of their own due to milk prices and freight costs. The 3-year slide in Iowa farmland values has reached a lull, at least for now. Iowa State University just releasing its annual land value survey. This report is often a benchmark in the industry due to Iowa's leading role in corn production. Now, the Iowa results show land values climbing 2% statewide during the past year. The average price now just over $7,300 an acre. That's an increase of $143. High-quality farmland climbing $175 an acre. The highest average value is in eastern Iowa's Scott County at nearly $10,500 an acre. The Iowa Study Survey shows land values declined in only 4 of the state's 99 counties. The economist who conducts the survey cautioned the increase does not mean the agricultural economy has turned the corner. Several farmers in Alabama and Nebraska have joined in a lawsuit against USDA and Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue stemming from the GIPSA rule. Earlier this fall, USDA canceled the Farmers Fair Practice Rule. That Obama-era rule would make it easier for farmers like poultry producers to sue meatpacking companies in which they have contracts. The lawsuit seeks to reverse the USDA's October decision to vacate that rule. The plaintiffs say Secretary Sonny Perdue ignored thousands of public comments about it, and USDA didn't comment on the litigation. There may be snow on the ground in some places, but drought and dryness is expanding in the lower 48. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman has more. Mike.
Good morning, Clinton. Drought conditions have expanded in Kansas recently. Nearly the entire state is covered with some level of drought. Last week, it was 63%. About 2% of the state, down in the south central counties especially, have entered the severe drought category. We also see a significant red blotch sitting over Arkansas. The entire state is in drought now. 42% is in D3 or extreme drought. That's 16 points worse than last week. Another 44% is in severe drought. And taking a look at the overall drought monitor, you can see that the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes are having no problems, but parts of Montana and the Dakotas still have some issues there, and there's drier conditions developing in the southeast. We'll have more on that and your forecast coming up in a few minutes. First, here are some hometown temps.
Farm Journal On Air is the go-to app for American agriculture. AgDay, AgriTalk, U.S. Farm Report, and more. 24/7 access to all of your favorite shows, TV and radio. In your hands, on demand. Farm Journal On Air. Download the app today.
When we come back, we'll discuss how growth in the livestock industry could help with a glut of grain. And later, a Wisconsin mom, worried about the health of her busy kids, found a way to add healthy protein thanks to help from a team of dairy researchers.
Receive a free trial of the Daily Grain Plan newsletter from Roach Ag Marketing. Text Roach to 31313. Start your subscription today by texting Roach to 31313.
In agribusiness, beans under pressure during the trading session Thursday. Let's see how markets closed from the floor of the CD in Chicago.
I want to start by looking at that corn market. We've been talking about that 350 level kind of being a magnet for the market. It was for that previous December contract. I think it will continue to be for this March contract until we get a technical breakout or a breakdown. Now, right now, the bears are in control. We've been making a trend of lower highs and lower lows over the past several months. So I don't think you're going to want to step in and be a buyer just yet. You want to see a close back above some of these technical resistance levels. The 50-day moving average being one of them. This is a simple indicator, but one we have not closed above since July. Now, as far as the soybeans are concerned, they've been under a ton of pressure over the last week, taking off about 40 plus cents on that January contract. So we're looking at 967 and 968 as a very pivotal support pocket going into the weekend. It's been Oliver Slope with Blue Line Futures from the floor of the CME.
Here at the Agribusiness Desk, I have Bob Utterback, Utterback Marketing. All right, we've got a couple things we know is happening, Bob. One, we had a big grain crop last year, and two, we have more protein on the farm as well. How do we stick these two issues together?
A couple tones that I'm picking up in the marketplace. The packers right now and the hogs short term are concerned that around the corner hog inventory numbers are going to start improving, and so cash price is going to be under pressure. So if I was unhedged for my Jan-Feb marketings, I would be very cautious because seasonally it's a weak time period. I'd be getting something placed. But when you think long term, also I've been hearing when you read the trade copy, a lot of the retail trade is preparing itself for a pretty big cookout season next spring because they're betting on pretty big supplies of beef. And so there's going to be a lot of beef featuring, I think, next year because they're going to have plenty of supplies. Right. Which will help demand, but it's not going to eat up the supply. So the real danger out here, I think, in the future for cattle, seasonally, cattle prices between now and April seasonally rally. I don't think there's not a big argument against some seasonal bounce, but it's going to be difficult to orchestrate a major with the supply situation. The question I have for farmers is you start looking in third and fourth quarter of next year, cattle and hog prices in general, conceptually. If we do not have a weather problem in the grains, and we have another 90 million, 91 million planted in corn, and we have another 170 to 172 crops, so the carryover stays someplace north of 2.3, 2.4, and we carry some old crop corn forward, prices are going to be under pressure, and their only one alternative is they're going to have to walk that grain off the farm, which will add to tonnage, and that's going to put cattle and hogs, I think, into a precarious position third, fourth. So I would be taking advantage of first quarter 2018 prices in cattle to basically get some hedging in place. That's the basic bias.
So we did have a pretty good end of 17, but you think we need to start looking ahead into 18 because
late 18, August on out is where I would I'd be using the first half of 18 to protect the last half of 18 on the assumption that
we're going to continue to grow supplies here.
We're going to grow the supplies.
Until something tells us different, that's supply.
That's right.
All right. Appreciate it, Bob. Thanks so much. We'll be back with more Ag Day in just a minute.
To talk with Bob one-on-one, call Utterback Marketing Services, toll free at 800-832-1488.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Your meteorologist Mike Hoffman looking at the map, and I'll tell you, Mike, doesn't look like there's a whole lot on it today.
No, there isn't. There's some rain in South Texas, and that's going to stay mainly south of the Rio Grande, just the southern portions of Texas getting the majority of it. North of there, it's mainly high pressure dominating across the Tennessee Valley back into northern portions of Texas, and really most of the west is dry at this point, but you're finally going to get a front to come through for the first time in 2 or 3 weeks. High pressure coming in behind this area of snow over the Great Lakes. Putting the maps into motion, you can see how that low pressure system moves through the Great Lakes. This is not going to put down a lot of snow, but some areas might see 2 or 3 inches of it across the central portions of the Great Lakes. A little bit of snow right along the shore, it looks like, as this storm system kind of moves offshore along the mid-Atlantic, southern portion of New England as well. There's that next front causing just a little bit of rain and mountain snows in the western portions of the country. By tomorrow morning, that is moving into the central portions of the Rockies. Area of snow developing ahead of this warm front then in the western Great Lakes once again. And heading through the day tomorrow as we head through the first day of the weekend, some light snow across parts of the Great Lakes, a little bit behind this front, excuse me, across southern portions of South Dakota, northern Nebraska, back into the central Rockies, and another cold front coming into the Pacific Northwest. So you can see our pattern has changed a little bit. We're actually getting some systems to come into the western portions of the country. Look at that over the past 24 hours. Almost no part of the country saw much moisture. Mainly South Texas, like we said, adding in the next 36 hours. It's mainly in far South Texas. We get a little bit of snow moving through the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes into the Northeast, and we get some developing for a change into the northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. Snowfall then, most of it has been over the Great Lakes over the past 24 hours. Again, very light amounts of snow then coming with that next system. Of course, the higher elevations of the northern Rockies will get some of that cold front as it moves toward the southeast. There's the temperatures this afternoon, only teens and 20s, Great Lakes into the northeast, but that's the last really cold area out of this system. You can see lots of 40s and 50s through most of the middle of the country, even 50s clear down to the Gulf Coast except for central and south Florida. Lows tomorrow morning, you can see mostly in the 30s across the center of the country, but 0 in Sault Ste. Marie. Still very cold air there. Lots of teens and 20s just to the south of that. High temperatures tomorrow afternoon finally starts to warm up a little bit. 50s and 60s showing up over the central plains. Still only 5 in Sault Ste. Marie, but even the southern Great Lakes making it back into the lower 40s. For a change. Here's the jet stream. You can see as we move through time, we get rid of that trough in the east. We kind of go with some changes here as the trough moves from west to east, tries to redevelop in the east, and I think we will still see by late next week another blast of very cold air coming southward, and exactly how far south and how far east that comes as we head toward Christmas is the big question, and whether this could be a big storm system at some point farther to the east. Travelers need to be paying attention to that one. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. First of all, for Price, Utah, partly sunny and rather chilly today. High temperature of 42 degrees. Aberdeen, South Dakota, clouds and some sunshine, high of 41. And finally, Frankfort, Kentucky, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, the afternoon high of 39.
All right, when we come back, we're going to keep talking farm safety, including the do's and don'ts for using metal chains, and we learn about a milk-based snack bar that helps young women promote a healthy self-image and how a mom helped make it a reality.
Ag Day, Brought to you by the Enlist Weed Control System. More weed control, less drift and volatility, maximum yield potential.
We've been talking a lot about safety here on Farm Journal College TV. Well, today we continue the conversation and include chains, which are used in many different ways on a farming operation.
Now, these things, as tough as they are, can get worn out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of metal.
Right.
You know, you can have any kind of metal break. Every farmer knows that. And so one of the nice things that I like here, by the way, I see that you put up one of my famous chains. One of the things that I like about here is people understand the importance of these chains. We pull out vehicles with the tractors and stuff, but more importantly, we also tie down bulldozers, we tie down equipment.
Sure.
And so we want these things obviously to look good, but what's nice here is when you hang them up, it implies that in fact these are good chains.
Okay.
A lot of guys will take their chains, throw them all over the floors, you don't know what's good or bad. But what I really like, because again, we're worried about the accidents and stuff on the highways, things falling off. And so you can see we've got them hung up here. And I put this up here we put this up here for a reason. Obviously, you can see that these things are stretched beyond imagination.
Right.
Everybody would know that it's not a good chain, but you know, I always hear it, but it ain't broke.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And so this one here, it's so stiff you could actually walk a dog with it. So, you know, there's a lot riding on these particular things. And so I want to make sure I have good chains. I want to make sure there's no really bad gouges and cuts. And if there are, I want to replace them because so much of our farm, either hauling on the highways or pulling out stuck equipment, rides on these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And hanging them up is an easy way to kind of see them visually before you pick them up.
It keeps them off the floor, keeps them out of water. It tells me then if they're not any good, they shouldn't be hanging up.
Now take a look at this. I got these pictures sent to me from Twitter regarding our last Farm Journal College TV tip about clevis safety when pulling out stuck equipment. Eric Mink says our story really hit close to home. Quote, very lucky on this one. He says the pin came out of the clevis, both the metal clevis and a tow strap snapped back through both the front and rear windows of his tractor. Luckily, no one was injured, but he has already changed out all of the equipment to screw-in type clevis rather than the pin-held versions. Eric, thanks for sharing that, and so thankful no one was hurt. All right, still to come, we'll see how dairy researchers helped a Wisconsin mom create a healthy meal to go for her teenage daughter.
In the Country, sponsored by Kubota. Tractors, hay tools, utility vehicles, mowers, and more. Visit Kubota.com today.
No matter your career path or lifestyle, it seems we're always on the go. Sometimes we're just too darn busy to sit down and enjoy a healthy meal. Well, in this video provided by the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board, we meet a mom who is trying to make sure her teenage daughter had quick but healthy snacks. And as you'll see, the Wisconsin Center for Dairy Research helped out.
Protein bars are nothing new, but a dairy-based protein snack bar geared towards young women to promote a healthy self-image and healthy eating is hitting the marketplace.
Dairy has some of the highest protein quality of any food protein, whey protein especially, but for teenagers, especially teenage women who are still growing and developing, protein is especially important for them.
Zhuzh bars are the brainchild of Dana Wendt, a UW-Madison alum. She stumbled upon the idea after realizing that the protein bars she was eating sent a message to her young daughter about weight management.
That was really the inception, because we also found mostly when products were targeting females and they were healthy, they always came with a diet message. And we did not want that for our daughter.
So a few years ago, Dana contacted UW-Madison's Center for Dairy Research about creating a dairy-based protein snack bar for young women.
I was excited for a couple of reasons. One, because Dana was targeting young women, and in our group, all of us are women as well. So we were really excited about developing a product by women for young women.
And the bars are becoming quite popular with the intended audience.
My friends love them. I've never had a friend that hasn't liked them. The guys like them a lot more than I thought they were going to too, considering they're targeted towards teenage girls.
Made with easy-to-absorb dairy proteins, the bars pair a positive message with a clean ingredient label and a great flavor profile.
The purpose of Zhuzh is to build strong and confident girls from the inside out, because it comes with that part of making sure our girls do have a great snack for when they are on the go.
And that's Wisconsin Dairy News.
Well, the bars come in chocolate mint, chocolate peanut butter, and chocolate chip cookie dough flavors. Doesn't sound too bad. That's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. For Mike Hoffman, Betsy Gibbon, and all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
AgDay, brought to you by Ram Commercial, America's longest-lasting heavy-duty pickups.